name is Meredith, and I have been a lifelong stutterer. For as long as I can remember, I have been a stutterer. My father was a stutterer growing up and most of his life, so most likely it was genetic for me, but I have stuttered since I could talk, as far as I know, from my parents. Um, when I was in preschool and kindergarten, I first started speech therapy, and I don't remember much from it, but from what I was told, it helped a little bit with my speech development. However, I still stuttered, and it was something that affected me all through elementary school, grade school, middle school, and so on. I think for me, when I first started truly realizing that I was different than the kids that I went to school with was probably in, I'd say, middle school. That's when the bullying started for me, and kids would make fun of how I talked. And that's when I truly knew that something about me was different than everybody else. I remember when we'd have to go around the room and do popcorn reading, where each person read a paragraph out of either our textbook or one of those little short stories. And I remember I would have to count forward from how many chairs I was from the person currently reading and try to figure out which paragraph I would be reading. And I would skim through the paragraph trying to see if there were any words that I knew I would trip up over, and just the amount of anxiety and stress that would give me was something I will never forget. I remember there were times where the paragraph that was assigned to me would have so many words that I knew I would trip up over, that I would go and use the bathroom right before it was my turn, or I would fake a stomach ache and go to the nurse's office just so I wouldn't have to read that paragraph aloud in front of everybody and inevitably have kids making fun of me later in the day. Fast forward to probably, I'd say it was middle school or high school, when I was just scrolling online one day after school and some advertisement popped up for some new medication that was coming out for people that had a stutter. And I remember I emailed the link to this medication to my parents, and I was like, hey, can I try this? And they sat me down after dinner and they were like, we didn't know that your stutter was still something that impacted you and that bothered you, but ultimately they were like, no, you can't take this medication, but we can sign you up for speech therapy again and see if now that you're older, if there's something they can do for you. So I went to a new speech therapist, and this one I'd say was more successful. She taught me some tricks of how to get through words that tripped me up and stuff like that. But ultimately, since it is genetic for me and it's just something with my brain chemistry, there is no way to truly fix it. Thankfully for me, these tricks helped me through high school for the most part, but even then, giving presentations to the class, reading out loud were still highly stressful for me. But as I got older, there were always people that were supporting me. I had a lot of teachers and friends that would support me, and I became more comfortable with the fact that, yes, I have a stutter and I am different, but that's okay. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, was being able to overcome that. But once I got into college and I decided what course I wanted to take for my future, I realized that, okay, being a stutterer might not necessarily get me where I want to go, and I might not be able to get a job having a speech impediment like this. The career path that I chose to take was to be a crime scene investigator. And being a crime scene investigator, we have to talk to a lot of people, officers, victims, our coworkers, and not only that, but we have to also testify in court, which is in front of a lot of people. It can essentially make or break somebody's life, and when you're testifying, you can't really change your words around to get around tripping up over a word, because if you're testifying about something that happened, if you change your words up too much, you could be lying. So when I graduated college and when I first got my job, I said there needs to be something else out there that can help people that stutter. So I went onto Google and I looked up things that can help people that stutter, and the first thing that popped up was SpeechEasy. I did a lot of research on the website, on just other websites in general where people posted reviews. I watched all the testimonials, and it seemed very promising. And watching people's transformation that they had from how they spoke with the SpeechEasy versus without the SpeechEasy was truly mind-boggling to me. And I said to myself, I was like, if I don't try it, then I'll never know if it's going to work for me. So I filled out the informational form, and somebody from SpeechEasy contacted me, and they connected me with my local SpeechEasy provider, and I went to my first appointment for my evaluation, and I think we were there maybe 2 hours, and she just spoke to me and tried to gauge where I was at without a SpeechEasy device, and it was truly the smoothest process. Everyone was so nice and so friendly and super helpful, and she fit me for my device, and within 2 weeks, the device came in. Once it came in, I went back to her office, and we adjusted all the settings. There are various settings you can use, different voices you can hear, depending on your preference, how much of a little lag you want. So it's very customizable to you personally and what you think will work best for you. I'd say the biggest challenge with the SpeechEasy was probably just getting used to using it and used to wearing it. It sits in your ear, kind of like a little hearing aid, but it's so discreet and people rarely notice that I have it in. But I think the hardest part was just getting used to having something constantly in your ear. But it took me maybe 1 or 2 days wearing it, and I can't even tell that it's there anymore. But it's definitely an adjustment to get used to, but the benefits 100% outweigh anything that I could have ever asked for. Just the overall confidence boost I have gotten from having a SpeechEasy is out of this world. I no longer have any fear speaking in front of people, testifying in court for cases that I have. It's just, I feel like a whole new person, and it's truly just changed my life tremendously. Obviously, nothing is foolproof. It's not going to be perfect. When you're a stutterer, you're a stutterer. But having a device like this that I can use as like a little lifeline for me is, honestly, there's no words to describe the impact it has had on my life. If you are contemplating trying one of the SpeechEasys out, or if you think that this might be something that can work for you, I 100% say to go for it. If it does anything for you, like it has for me, you will thank yourself and you will tremendously improve your confidence, your life in general, and it will be completely life changing for you. Thank you to SpeechEasy, and thank you to everyone that has made this possible for me and will hopefully make your lives better for you.